Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. To get started here, before I get started, actually, I was going to tell you, Mr. B told me that about this. Many of you have probably done it or are doing it now. It's this. I don't know if the right word's diet, but it's this thing called intermittent fasting. It's more of a, from what it was described to me, it's more of just a way of a life change, a different way to eat, and so I decided I would try the intermittent fasting. Basically, what it means is you carve out 8 hours of each day, and you can only eat inside of those 8 hours. And so I chose the hours of like 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. to eat. And so, and then of course you weigh yourself at the beginning, and then at the end you weigh yourself again. And I did that, but I haven't weighed again. I've only been on it for 3 or 4 days. But they say that it's really hard to wait until like 12 to eat and all that, but I never did have a problem with it right out of the gate. So it hopefully it works, because it doesn't really bother me at all. I haven't had any issues with doing it or anything. So maybe it's a good way to, I think it has to do with how your metabolism is affected by eating during those kind of hours, instead of eating, you skip breakfast and then you're not eating after 8 at night. And so I think it works with your metabolism better in some kind of way. But anyway, I have not had to suffer too much. I can still drink my coffee, and that's important. I wanted to start off with this. I was making a point here. Now, this was an article yesterday that we talked about. I think one of the country's largest asset managers just received a license to set up Bitcoin trading and storage platform for institutional and individual investors. Now, I made the point here, and I tweeted this out yesterday. For over a year, we've been told that this is the only new asset class. This is only a new asset class for institutional investors. And as I've said from the very start, there was the line only. I'm sorry. As I've said from the very start, that was the line only until the wealthy had all of their money parked and in place. Now it's for the retail investors. Do you see how this works? And I was making the point, and I'll show to you what I'm talking about. And that's what we've been told for over a year or two. And we've been excited about the idea that even institutional investors were coming in. But the line has always been, this is for institutional investors, sophisticated investors. And I have said all along, no, that is not what this is. What they're going to do is they're going to come in, they're going to make sure the wealthy and the institutional, like endowments for Harvard and Yale and all those places, they're going to make sure all those people have their money in place, and then they're going to say, oh yeah, it's also for retail. So here you're beginning to see it, and I'll make my point. I'll let you see. This is back. We're enabling institutional investors, and this was just a few days ago. We're enabling institutional investors to trade digital assets on end-to-end regulated infrastructure. So BACT has made no announcement yet about being open to retail. Well, let me tell you, if you think BACT is not going to be retail facing, think again, because the same thing that was just announced from Fidelity, remember, this is Fidelity Digital Assets website. This is how it has been for since they opened, and even before they opened. Institutional focus. And then here it says unique capability, while incorporating the unique capabilities of blockchain technology to deliver a completely new offering for institutional investors. Everything has been, we're doing this institutional. And now all of a sudden we find out that Fidelity's gearing up to offer it to retail. So if you think this has been the plan all along, this is just how they operate. They're gonna make sure they get the wealthy part. And I've used the example from when I was a financial advisor a lot with you, where when I was at Morgan Stanley, and it works like that with all companies, not just Morgan Stanley. when they do initial public offerings, when a company goes public and they offer the initial public offering, that offering is offered to their high net worth clients first, and then all the schlubs like you and I get a chance at it. And so, that's the way that this did. Now, keep in mind, this is the first new asset class since bonds in the 1600s. And so, what is that? Now, so if a high net worth client just with the issuance of an IPO is the one that's in a position to make a lot of money, what are the people, and in this case it's even more unique, what are the people who are the first to a new asset class position? What kind of money are they positioned to make? We're not talking about just some stock that's going low. We're talking about an entire industry, an entire asset class. And the coolest thing about it is those of us who were, I guess, nerdy enough to be here even before the institutional guys, think about the position that we're in. And that's the way I've been looking at this since I discovered this in 2013. Okay, now I wanted to show you this. I had forgotten to go over this in a video. I had videoed this myself when we were at Swell, but Mr. B had, I don't know if he had retweeted this or posted it again yesterday, but this was by far the most interesting thing I saw when I was at Swell. He says, RippleNet Home for a bank or remittance company is like having a marketing and sales department on your computer. It's an absolute game changer. If you don't see what's happening, I can't show it to you. But this is just one screenshot from this. It says, connection request accepted. Congratulations. You are now connected to Pagama Bank. And what this software was, it was like Ripple is demonstrating what the future looks like for, and they called it RippleNet Home for banks. So a banker can literally log in at home and he can search this software, and he can connect his bank or payment company to other banks and payment companies, to the rails of other banks and payment companies, and literally it's set up almost like social media where he can do a friend request, but it's a request. Excuse me. It's literally a request to set up a payment rail between his bank or payment company and another bank or payment company. It's the most amazing thing that I have seen. But while I was watching it, I was literally thinking, this is going to destroy Swift. Swift doesn't even have a company with this on the scene, period. And that's what I was thinking as I was watching this, and I was blown away. I mean, I was totally blown away by this, and I totally forgot to go back over it. If you have not seen this, go to Mr. B's thread and watch this. It'll blow you away too. Okay. Now this is interesting as well, and this kind of goes in line with what I was talking about earlier with how these plans have all been laid. These people, just because they haven't been taught, I mean, they've intentionally not been talking about all of this. Just like for the last year, 2 years, people will not say Ripple, they won't say XRP, but they're sitting on stage and they're dancing all around it, whether it's Christine Lagarde or a central banker or Mark Carney from the Bank of England. They've all been dancing all around it. Well, if you want to see the confirmation that they've all been told not to say anything, well, here it is from I Am Legion. Okay, he sent me this video right here, and go give him a follow. It's a video, and it's from James Malpass. Okay, so give him a subscribe as well. This guy right here is the managing director of digital investment banking for Santander, and he's speaking at this. This is the Institute of International and European Affairs. And so he's up here speaking, and he makes a comment. Apparently, I think there's someone from Facebook in the crowd, or a representative of Facebook or Libra, because he's talking up here, and he says, we've been working, and he goes through the names of I think it's like all the central banks that they've been working with on digital assets, and he says, yeah, the central bankers, they have made us keep our mouths shut. We've been working on this for 3 years, and they've made us keep our mouths shut. And then he turns to someone in the audience, and I think it's someone that's involved in Facebook and their Libra and all that. because he says, we wanted to thank you because when you guys made the announcement, that is when we have all of a sudden been allowed to start talking about this. And so it's not a coincidence that we've been screaming at our computer screens and our televisions going, why can't you just say Ripple and XRP? For the last over 2 years, it's all been in play. It's been going on behind the scenes, and they just haven't been allowed to talk about all of this. So the things that are coming are going to be fascinating. And now, of course, China, who has also kept their mouths shut since 2013, when I got in this, China has been playing shell games with what they think about crypto and blockchain. One minute they announce they're going to ban it. The next minute they're looking at it. The next minute it's something different. Well, as any kind of country like this who tries to control their population operates, behind the scenes, they've been planning and plotting to make themselves wealthy, probably at the expense of their citizens or something thereof. But the point is that all of these people have kept their mouths shut, and they haven't been allowed to talk about any of this. And all of a sudden, they're talking about it. China. This is an article from CoinDesk. China's central bank will set new industry standard regulations across financial sector for 17 fintech categories like blockchain. The central bank DP, whatever that name is, said the financial industry lacks the standards and needs to update the existing standards. Now, let's look at this. And these are the big picture things that you need to be thinking about when you look at, a lot of people I see that are depressed about the market and all that. I'm not depressed. I'll be buying more XRP today. And in fact, just about every bull run that I've been in, as a side note, has happened over Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's worthy of mentioning, just so you know. If you are like me and you're planning on buying these ridiculous dips, the buying of the dip it can never be more timely than being able to do it before Thanksgiving and Christmas, because that's apparently when everybody starts talking about all this and gets excited about it, and that's historically what I've seen being in this. But Eric Dadoon, who bought me some beer in Singapore, and I still appreciate it. It was good beer. Ripple makes money elsewhere, but safe bet they want a higher XRP price given their bag. They have said it. David Schwartz has said that Ripple wants XRP to have a higher price, but they have an incentive for XRP to have a higher price. You know who else would? Their investors: Standard Chartered, Santander, Andreessen Horowitz, Accenture, Google, etc. These giants are going to will the IOV into existence. I can't wait. Exactly. Let's see here. I'm getting rid of some things. And then I like this. Wagner, Wag Dog. The planting of bamboo takes 7 to 10 years to break the surface. Once the bamboo sprouts, it sends its shoots upwards 50 feet in just 2 months. Rarely does anyone get rich overnight. Investments are seeds you plant that will one day bear massive fruit. And along these lines, I've told you of my experience, and I'll tell you again. Remember, folks, and the reason that I don't sit around crying over prices on a daily basis, remember, if you want, I have never sold my XRP, okay, from 2013 till now. Do you know how many of days like the last 2 or 3 days of price swings that I have had to endure or just put it away and not look at it to get to 2019? Do you know how many of those that I've had to go through? Do you know how many of those that Ripple has had to experience and stay the course and keep working their plan? Do you know how many? I mean, we're talking hundreds. This is the game we're in here, okay? That's why I always talk about big boy pants. This is the game we're in. This is a big boy game. And lucky for you and I is that we are so far ahead in this game right now than we were when I started this process in 2013. We are so far ahead of that, and there are so many things that you don't have to go through. So you ought to be excited, not upset about the prices, because we are literally now talking about the Chinese central bank setting up all of their standards for crypto. We are now beyond Fidelity and all these companies talking about how this is just for institutional investors. Now we're talking about they're going to do it for retail investors. And those retail investors represent people that are piling in after you've made your investment, and they're not going to be doing it over the counter. They're going to be doing it in the retail markets. And when they're piling in the retail markets, that pads your pocket. So you don't have anything to be depressed about. It's all exciting ahead of us. And that's my reason that I always say, try to put things in perspective for everyone. Okay, and this from the big skinny. You all may want to keep this and look at it 2 years from now. Damn, I could have got a great shallow bag. And he's talking about the price. He said, take a snapshot of that. I would encourage everybody, take a snapshot about it. Be excited that you're looking at a price like that, because there is nothing but opportunity in that price. And I'm going to take advantage of it myself today. Okay, I wanted to just show you, this was David Schwartz, his line on the FUD from yesterday. This was this elliptic report PR stunt. Brianna Madigan from Ripple had said this elliptic report is a PR stunt. It effectively says so in the second sentence of the article. But I can't get off of this hang up that I have here. It's so stupid. The way CoinDesk presented this. Criminals have used XRP to carry out their illicit activities, though hardly at the same degree as Bitcoin. Where this is to CoinDesk, I could write an article and I could say, criminals have used CoinDesk to learn about digital assets. Criminals have used CoinDesk to learn about digital assets, though they've hardly used CoinDesk to learn about digital assets to the extent that they have with Forbes or the Wall Street Journal. And what does that? I mean, when presented like that, it is the most idiotic presentation of supposed news that I've ever read. Whoever worded it that way should be fired. It's that stupid. But I just wanted to say that to illustrate it's total absurdity in the way if XRP is not used hardly to the same degree as Bitcoin, then why is Bitcoin not in the main title? Because that's the news, is that Bitcoin is the one that's being used for illicit activity. Why not? And that's a great question that CoinDesk should answer, actually. But David Schwartz weighed in as well. He says, flattering as it is, people are leveraging XRP's name to get clicks in their press release. It's honestly just annoying when they sensationalize it, taking it completely out of context. And we should mention again, as I always mention it when they're doing things like this, CoinDesk is owned by the Digital Currency Group. Barry Silbert, who all he talks about is Bitcoin. Barry Silbert, who owns CoinDesk and also owns Grayscale, which is pushing the GBTC, which is the Grayscale, which is the digital currency groups owns the Grayscale and CoinDesk. And Barry Silbert, who's also an investor in Ripple and in essence XRP, never talks about Ripple XRP because right now he's pushing that Bitcoin thing, I guess. And so articles like this work to their advantage right now. I'm of the opinion that down the road they'll switch their tune and they'll switch and start talking about Ripple and XRP. But there's no other way to say it. This is complete BS, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And David Schwartz more or less tells them how much BS it is. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that there are all the reasons in the world there for optimism. And if optimism is what if true optimism is what you want, and if real deserved optimism is what you want, then this is the place to come, because I don't have any reasons to be negative. I see this thing very clearly. It's taken me years to get to where I feel like I can plug into the matrix, and I see it very clearly now. And it took a while to get to that place. Thank you for listening.